So welcome guys to 100 Days in Finance. 100 Days in Finance, this is now the Founders Edition. We are here with Sydney Werema. Sydney, I met him on LinkedIn, and I'm very, very sure about this journey into finance is going to be very, very instrumental. I'm not going to introduce him. He's going to introduce himself. So before we start, us too much sec, too much sec, too much sec, too much sec. Let's go. So I'm going to let Sydney introduce himself. Maybe Sydney, you have the floor. You have the floor. Please tell people about yourself and what you're about. Yeah.
Yeah, so of course, my name is Sydney, and from Nairobi. I've been in finance for the last 6 to 7 years right now. I started with the Nairobi Securities Exchange and also dabbled in the Dar es Salaam Exchange. And basically, on my background of education, I'm from Technical University of Kenya. I'm also from I learned platform economics in Boston University through a scholarship, and I've been always interested in the world of capital markets, and particularly local capital markets rather than global capital markets. They've always been my interest, and I decided to play my part in trying to develop them. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I think that's a 6, 7 years in the financial market. But that's a long journey. That means you started when you're around like 18 there.
Yeah, straight out of high school, I bought my first share. So back then it was 100 share minimums, but I bought of a small stock. It was at least a shilling stock. So that was, you never forget the first one you buy.
Actually, I think most people wouldn't go that journey. I think that's something that's very exceptional. That's great when you turned 18, you bought your first share. So maybe I'll ask, how has your financial journey been in the last 6, 7 years? Basically through the NSC and up to where you are right now. How has the journey been so far?
Well, it's not really a straight line. It's been a journey that has its ups and downs, had its highs and lows. The journey has also been a regulatory journey, right? Seeing the transformation of our regulatory posture of our Capital Markets Authority of Kenya, seeing the minimums go down from 100 to 1, the rise of the omnibus account that everyone is kind of afraid of right now, but over time you'll see more and more people being accustomed to it. Also, the actual journey of the African Continental Free Trade Area has always been my biggest. That was like the highest high that I had, because once we had the African Continental Free Trade Area Investment Protocol ratified by countries back in 2022, it led to the rise of the African Exchange Linkage Program, and now you can buy stocks. That is institutions only so far. Buy stocks in multiple exchanges. That is Botswana, JSC in Johannesburg, Nairobi, and if you look into the future, it's only gonna get more integrated with platforms, or rather startups that come up and fill the interface layer while plugging into
Yeah.
this infrastructure that is being built right now.
You're talking in terms most people would not understand. I think when you say due ratification, it's at the end of the day, you guys have to understand. Sydney has been in this for 6, 7 years. I can only imagine your enthusiasm with the fact that things are only getting better, despite all the doom and gloom that's usually projected throughout the whole media. Yeah, Sydney, you're the founder and CEO of Hussini. Uh, why don't you tell the people what Hussini is and what it's actually about? Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, to understand where Hussini comes from is that, African capital markets have been starved of IPOs, particularly East African capital markets. I mean, our local boss just had its first IPO in 22 years. That's a long time. And
The one for the
Kenya Pipeline. That's no,
yes.
17 years. 17 years is the correct figure. So 17 years dry spell, and also the bull run has only lasted how long? I mean, 3 years now, since 2022. We've had now a consistent bull run for a significant time. I want to see where this goes. And once I started Hussini was, investing has always been a big man's club, right? I remember even when I wanted to start my own CDSC account. That's the account that you use to buy shares. You need that account, and it was a difficult process. They needed my where I was living, wanted to know if I was married or not. A lot of information. For a young guy, you're wondering, okay,
If I'm married,
why all this information, right? You need a bank account, right? And we
where
are
do
a
I go?
mobile first economy, so yeah,
Where
so
do I
I
need
need
to
a
go
bank account to do that. Yeah. So it's a learning curve for anyone new who's trying to get into capital markets. And I saw that we needed to break down these barriers. It's even worse when you're trying to go cross border, that is buy in other capital markets within Africa itself. So like going to the Dar es Salaam exchange, one needs you need a whole company to even buy shares there. Rather, you can buy like a retail guy. You need a Tanzanian ID if you want to buy like a retail guy. So all these issues are something that even in the East African community we still haven't been able to break down because
Yeah.
very well. So it's something that I set out to really break down and also integrate, right? Because Hussini is built not only to enable access but also to teach people through our AI model Lorenzo that we've trained on African capital markets.
Yeah, yeah. I actually went through like Hussini, the mobile. It's very easy to use. The interface is very simple. It's very user friendly. I'll even drop a link on the Nini below, guys, in case anybody wants to see. And yeah, Lorenzo is very. Let me just say he's a very interactive AI. Maybe you can tell us even about Lorenzo because even him is a very integral part of Hussini. Yeah.
Yeah. First, if you want to venture into the space of African capital markets, there's a lot of jargon, as you have said, even previously, speaking of me talking about omnibus accounts, people don't really know what those are. So how do you enable people to still participate but still learn while earning at the same time? So you have to build a multifaceted platform whereby not only are they able to access these stocks cheaply, right? Not only through fractional access, but also
Yeah.
lower transaction fees, but adding a literacy layer such as Lorenzo, whereby we took a open source model, we fine-tuned it according to the company financials of every listed entity in the Nairobi and Dar es Salaam exchange. Those are the key companies that we are currently fine-tuning him on. And thus, if you ask him a question on what dividends, what's the best dividend stock on the exchange, he'll tell you BAT, that is the
Yeah.
British American Tobacco. And such kinds of details that users will not understand. For example, what's price to earnings, what is earnings per share, what is dividends, what are dividends, how do they play a crucial role into how much I'm investing in a stock. Such of terms and terminologies, it's easier if you just ask an AI, whereby he won't take you for maybe you don't understand. You can ask 10 times, you can ask 100 times, you can even ask him to explain in an analogy in Swahili, since we also enable him to speak in Swahili and our local slang, Sheng. So you can even speak to him in Sheng, and he'll even
But
understand what you're trying to say. And explain to you according to your localized terminology. So that's the cool thing about Lorenzo. But it goes even more further than that. That he guides you, and it's personalized according to your portfolio. So based on what you want to do, based on your goals, he will guide you according to that. He'll never tell you abstract things. He'll only speak to your personalized portfolio, but also speak to a company's underlying fundamentals, which are key in investing. It's not about price when it comes to retail investing, as I'm seeing people do. It's more about the company's fundamentals and how well it's performing.
Do you guys, is there a minimum amount that you need to like to invest in Hussini or to start trading? Well,
Yeah, so on Hussini, it's basically you can put in as low as 50 shillings, right? As low as 50 shillings. That is on the deposit side, and that's because we can't really control the deposit side since we are using a payment partner, right? Someone who's licensed to handle payments. So if we could build our own stack on that end, we could enable even 1 shilling deposits. But of course, they have their own minimums they have. But on our platform to invest, you can invest with as low as 10 shillings.
oh, and let me ask for people who don't know anything about trading, yeah. Is there a way that you can guide them, in this journey of trading? Let me just ask this. If you or me, let's say I am not knowledgeable about anything in finance, I'm not knowledgeable about anything in trading, how would you guide me in your app to a point where I'm at least 1 to 10% knowledgeable on things in finance? Yeah.
Yeah, so the easiest thing is you can deposit using M-Pesa or using a bank account, so card deposits, you bank withdrawals. The thing is, after you deposit, you can go to Lorenzo directly and just ask him, as a beginner, what's the best stocks to start with? And he will list you at least 3 to 4 stocks, which are blue chip ones, that you can start with. You can tell him, okay, he will ask you also one question back. What are your goals? Because in investing, you must have goals. You must have an agenda of what you want to achieve. And that's if you tell him your goals are for consistent cash flow. Cash flow means you need dividends. So he'll supply you with a list of stocks that are dividend stocks. So that's pretty cool that we've enabled that. It's now easier to talk to Lorenzo than even talking to a stockbroker, because Lorenzo can understand you deeply based on what you want. You can tell, even furthermore, when he answers a question, he'll always look at what your trading balance is. If you deposit 5 shillings, he will guide you towards stocks in your range that are affordable, that are undervalued, that you can buy with the 500 shillings to grow it. You can also give him a goal, and he will remember that goal. State that I want to make this. Of course, he will tell you can't make it overnight. He will guide you on how to get there over time, which is the saying, which as the saying goes, right? Timing the market is not the way. You must spend time in the market, right? That's how you make money in the African capital market.
You must spend time in the market. It's not like a get rich quick scheme. You don't.
Yeah, you can just. Yeah.
Let me ask. In your journey, in finance, yeah, what have you seen that gives you an edge over everybody else to reach this point where you've reached, where now you're actually developing Hussini, while others have just been there, staying in the same route, trading and then leaving, trading and then leaving? What was the edge that you had that actually made you go now this route where now you're developing a platform that people can actually trade?
First of all, they made me start a company. All factors were opportunities in space. You look at a myriad of factors, and some of those that I saw were regulation was more enticing towards investment banks, or rather broker dealers. These are people who deal in stocks, right? So these are the companies such as you may talk about investment banks such as equity investment banks. You can see Suntra investment banks. So it's such a kind of companies locally that are licensed to handle stocks for you. So I saw laws such as lowering the barrier of the minimum share amount that you can buy from 100 to 1. That was very, very important. That's a huge deal. The other thing was initiatives such as the East African Capital Market Infrastructure Program, whereby we have Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda are already joined in, meaning if you're an investment bank in Uganda, you can definitely buy stocks in Rwanda. Kenya is joining that in the next couple of months, such as African Securities Exchange Association. They are leading the charge for the African Exchange Linkage project, whereby we're going to link all exchanges. Right now, 7 of them have been linked so far, and we're now into phase 2, which started, I think, 6 months ago. Phase 2 is now underway, whereby we're adding another 8 exchanges, bringing the total 15 exchanges. An African system. Right now, you know you can send money from your bank to bank. Such things are.
You're breaking up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my internet or yours. You're breaking up. There's some things you said that's very important that you're breaking up. Yeah.
Okay, I can go back. I can say that, for example, the Pan-African payment system. Right now, you can send money from Nairobi, a bank account in KCB, to Zenith Bank in Nigeria. It will be there in 10 minutes. You can even do that via mobile money. I mean, the Pan-African payment system is the most important system that has been built to date based on the African Continental Free Trade Area agenda. So all these things led me to think that we could build an exchange that can enable not only cross-border access to capital markets in Africa, but also bring all Africans together and teach them at the same time. Because Lorenzo is not only a Swahili, he can speak French for Francophone Africa. He can speak Yoruba. He can speak Zulu. So all this, nothing as a continental platform, because our goal is to house all African capital markets under one roof through Hussini, the interface layer, and partner with multiple brokerages in the background, of course. And this was what led me to start Hussini, because there's no such time to build such a company. Everything is aligned, everything is perfect, and it's so early in this space. Only 4% of Africans are invested in the capital markets. In 10 years from now, this space will be undergoing a super cycle for sure. And of course, when you start a company, you don't start a company to make money next year. You start a company to make to generate wealth over decades, and that's why we started Hussini.
Oh, so finance is about thinking long term, not short term. You don't have the short term. The long term actually outweighs the short term in your eyes, because you're saying only 4% of Africa is invested in the exchanges. That's a small number.
Yeah, in Kenya, it's 2%, right? It's very low.
Yeah. What?
And on what you said. On what you said, right? Yes, it is on the long term, but also finance is mostly about risk, right? How much risk can you tolerate? Because even when you start a company, we've seen so many startups fail. Up to 85% of startups do fail. And so even when you try and invest in capital markets, you should focus on risk that you're able to tolerate, because some of our markets are very volatile. So, but it doesn't mean that your money will go to zero. That hasn't happened because there are safeguards also Capital Markets Authority has put in, and also multiple capital markets authorities across the board have put in, meaning stocks in the exchange can never rise past 10% and can never go lower than 10% in a day. So in a trading day. So that's a good thing that protects our capital from these wild swings.
I think the more we actually talk about this, the more that people will actually understand where you're coming from in terms of making Hussini and making a platform that's actually integrated with the rest of Africa at large. Especially when you said about the Pan African payment system. This I didn't even know about this. So even me guys, I'm learning. Don't even think that Sydney is. I'm learning from Sydney. The same way you guys are learning right now. I'm learning from Sydney. So we're going to have Sydney for the rest of the 7 days. We're going to talk about African markets, trading in Africa, and the rise. You know, there was even a guy who told me about trading commodities in Africa. Do you trade commodities, Sydney?
We mostly focused on equities. Even I am not that old to delve into every facet of the continent. We mostly focused on equities. Oh, I've never traded coffee. I've never traded metals. That's maybe foreign, right? Gold, oil, maybe that. But in Africa, no, yeah.
The commodities market in Africa is not as mature as the rest of the world. What's as compared to the rest of the world?
To be fair, I would say that we have a coffee exchange in Kenya that moves millions of dollars a day. I mean, the average I think there they move is around 40 to 50 million dollars a day on the coffee exchange, and that is on the low end. That and on commodities, we do have an gold ETF in the Nairobi Securities Exchange, but when you look at the continent at large, I many commodities listed right on the exchanges. That's one. But ETFs are there. Global ETFs are there, but it's not many local ETFs that are.
Don't worry, guys. We are going to demystify everything. ETFs, omnibus. David will go to Sydney and talk to Lorenzo. Is going to demystify. I actually encourage everybody right now who's watching to actually go to Sydney. Check it out because it's me myself. I'm on the system, so like I'd actually encourage everybody to actually go check it out. It's a very well structured platform for trading that Sydney has been developing. How long have you guys been developing the Hussini app?
We started building Hussini back in 2023. That was when the concept started seeping through. And then starting the platform was a year ago. So that was in 2025, start of 2025. That's when we started building. The company was registered 3 months ago. So that was in December around December, end of December. That's when we registered the company. And then we got our first partnerships 2 months ago. So it's been a quick uptake because everyone we talked to was by the platform for sure. That's true. But it's not yet live. We are still finishing up right? Not yet. Not yet.
It's not yet.
Integrations with we are finishing up integrations with our partner. Of course, we still have to get into the CMA sandbox. We have already applied for that. We are waiting for that. Once we get into the sandbox program, we get a license, or rather a letter of no objection, so that we can start operations. And operations are set to begin in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then that will be a wonderful milestone for us.
Oh, I think it's amazing that you actually have put this thing together. It's actually amazing to actually meet you in person. Actually, like I told you, I met you when the NSC dummy account, it got locked. So the fact that now, like we have actually met a person who's actually making a live trading platform is actually a very, very big deal. Well, guys, Sydney has been with us. I won't take any much more of your time. Thank you so much for the introduction. we're gonna be with Sydney throughout the whole week as we talk about trading. We're gonna delve as far as we can, as far as this limited time will actually help us. And from there now, we're going to get to know more about trading in Africa as a whole, because at the end of the day, the goal is Africa has to be a financial superpower. So, Sydney, any words before now we release you? We know you're a very busy man. We won't take up more of your time. Any words before we part? We start off this month.
Yeah, so sure. What I say is that for anyone listening is that the best move to do if you ever find yourself getting into the market and you bought a stock at 70 shillings and now it's at 66 shillings, the smart move to do is just average down. What do I mean by average down? Just buy it the lower it gets, just buy more, meaning averaging down the price that you bought it at. This helps you make even more money later on as it goes up. So that's a cool thing. The holding bit, if you hold, you're not going to realize those losses. So that's a cool thing about capital markets. And in African capital markets, do not be much into trading a lot, be much into accumulation, right? Accumulate as much shares as you can, because these shares are the cheapest that they will ever be if you look at what's going to happen in a decade from now once this thing starts getting into its super cycle.
Thank you so much, Sydney, for your time. We're going to have Sydney for the whole week, guys. Don't worry. We're going to talk about everything, and all I can say is thank you so much for your time, bro. Guys, remember, Hussini is still it's a mobile web-based application. You can go. I'm going to put the link down below. You're going to go look at it. Go talk to Lorenzo. Lorenzo is mwongeleshe na Sheng, mwongeleshe na Kiswahili, mwongeleshe na Kifaransa, mwongeleshe na Kipunjab, hata kama ni Punjab tuongee. At the end of the day, just make sure you interact with him. It's an amazing app. I'm so proud to have met you, Sydney. And yeah, let's talk about trading. Let's talk about finances whole week. Okay?
Yeah, happy to meet you. We'll talk more. I think we'll dive deeper into African capital markets, which is a space that I love a lot.
Thank you so much, bro. All right.